Hi, I'm Rosie Brandreth, an emergency vet, and we are here on this beautiful sunny day at Good Wolf Dog Show. We're going to go through a demonstration to show you how to do CPR on your dog in an extreme emergency situation. Really importantly, do not try this on a healthy animal. When would you do CPR? This is when a dog is collapsed and is not breathing and has no heart rate. We'll go through how to test for these things in a moment. This may be if your dog had been subject to drowning or after an electric shock. This would probably not be appropriate after extreme trauma or in sort of a very elderly sick animal. There are a few things to check before you would decide CPR was appropriate. And while doing this, ideally you would have a friend already on the phone to a vet to work out where the closest place is and how quickly you could get your animal transferred to medical help. Before you do anything, you check, is your dog actually unconscious? Are we reactive if we're sort of pressing around the eyes? Are we responding to anything? If the answer is no, we then move on and you've got your A, B, C checks. So A is airway. Is there anything trapped in the dog's airway? If there's something in the throat and you can remove it, that may solve the problem. So being very careful not to get bitten, have a look behind the tongue, a good check, see as much as you can into the throat. And if there's anything in there, just hook it out, may have solved the situation. If not, move on to B, breathing. Is your dog breathing? Is the chest moving up and down? And if you place a hand in front of the nostrils, can you feel any airflow? If not, we move on to C, which is our cardiovascular. Do we have a pulse? Is the heart beating? You can place a hand on the chest. Do we have a heartbeat? Can we feel it? This might be harder in some breeds. So you could also feel for a femoral pulse by popping your hand just inside the inner thigh and seeing if you can feel the artery there. If we don't have a pulse and we can't feel this, this is when you would start your CPR. So you would have the dog lying just like this on its right hand side. If you had a very small dog, you would do this differently with one hand around the dog's chest. Or if you have a very barrel-shaped dog, a bulldog type, you would just pop the dog onto its back instead. The key things with CPR, lock your hands so you can put a good amount of pressure on, and you want to be above the dog using your own body weight to enforce the strength down onto the chest. We're compressing the chest to about half of its depth, so real lot of force, but this is an extreme emergency situation to be doing this. You've probably all heard with human CPR, we go to the beat of Staying Alive, so if you want to sing it in your head or out loud is absolutely fine. And we want to do 2 compressions per second. We're going to do 30 compressions before we stop and give breaths. Interlocked hands over the heart, above the dog, so you can use your weight, 30 compressions at 2 per second. And after you've completed your full 30, you will give the dog 2 breaths. You would hold the mouth firmly closed and breathe sharply into both nostrils. And you would do that twice. We then check again. Are we breathing? Do we have a heartbeat? If the answer is no, repeat the cycle. But if you could swap out with somebody, certainly after a couple of cycles, because it is tiring, all the while trying to get hold of professional medical care. If, however, you do have a heartbeat, you do have breaths after that first round, brilliant. Get your dog to the vets as soon as you can, but stop the CPR at that point.